You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. South Africa's Minister for Tourism, Patricia de Lille, has said that once the visa waiver negotiations between Nigeria and South Africa is sorted out and agreed upon, there will be a strong potential for growth in many areas for the two African countries. The tourism minister said this in an exclusive interview with Arise News at Africa's Travel Indaba, a Pan-African tourism trade show that invited countries from all over Africa to exhibit their tourist destinations as well as packages to enhance the tourism industry in not just South Africa, but the rest of Africa as well, intending to increase the continent's image and generate revenue through tourism. De Lille, speaking on Nigeria and South Africa's relationship, revealed that South Africa has been in negotiations with Nigeria to secure a visa waiver, as well as the security measures put in place to ensure tourists feel safe while visiting the country, and the reason why Nigeria was absent at this year's event. Arise News international correspondent Seyitan Atigarin has the details.
Are you with?
So I'm with Arise News Television. We broadcast out of Lagos, Nigeria, but in fact we only just launched in South Africa a month ago.
Oh, really?
So we're now in South Africa. So once this is out, we'll send you a link, but I'm sure you can catch it as well.
Yes.
This economic trade between all these African countries. During your opening speech, you spoke about the fact that we have two new countries exhibiting this year. I think you mentioned Guinea as well as Burkina Faso. So I want to ask, at what stage are we going to have, Nigerian exhibitors here on the floor, also putting out what they have to the rest of Africa and the world?
In the invitation to invite your minister, also to say that if you are interested in getting space to have an exhibition, that's also available. So it's really up to the countries to decide what to do. We have on the floor here, as we speak now, 26 different African countries, including Burkina Faso and Eritrea, that has also joined us for the first time this year. So I can engage with the Minister of Tourism there and see how we can get a closer relationship, but it was up to Nigeria to decide whether they would like to have a space here on the floor and have a promotion of Nigeria. Both Nigeria and South Africa signed the Africa Free Trade Agreement.
Definitely.
Yes.
You spoke also again in your opening speech about the fact that 132 countries have gotten this, 123 or 132 countries have gotten this visa waiver, but then about 10 or 12 are still in conversation with Home Affairs. And there's already, the other person was talking about this whole Nigeria-Ghana jollof wars that has been on for ages. But then again, it seems as if they are winning in this visa, the free visa waiver to South Africa. Can you just maybe shed some more light on what exactly is going on? You spoke about a 200% increase with Ghanaians in the first 3 months. Now, if you think about Nigeria that has a population of over 200 million people, you can imagine what those numbers would be. So what exactly is going on?
Well, first, let me say we've got 132 countries across the world where they're entitled to a visa waiver up to 90 days within a calendar year, and then there's also option to extend. In the continent of Africa, we have got that visa waiver agreement with 32 countries. And Ghana was the latest one added in November last year. We have been in, and Nigeria is one of the 10 countries in Africa where the negotiations is currently on between the Department of Home Affairs and your Home Affairs Department in Nigeria. I keep on following up as the Minister of Tourism because my interest is to see more Nigerians traveling to South Africa. We've received about 16,000 visitors from Nigeria in the first quarter of this year. It's like an 16% increase. So there is movement, but it's just taking very long for Nigerians to get the visas. And in my last conversation with the Minister of Home Affairs, I asked him, what are you talking to Nigeria about and when will we have the visa sorted out? And he informed me in their discussions with Nigeria, they're talking about 2 types of visas. One visa for business and for meetings, conferences and events, and then another visa for tourism. I immediately asked, but why 2 different visas? And that's all I could get from him. But I also wanted to know by when will these negotiations be concluded? And he assured me that, there are some delays on our side and some delays on Nigeria. Now, as you know, I don't deal with visas. I have to rely on the minister. But I can't agree more with you. The potential for growth to both countries, Nigeria and South Africa, is there if we can sort out the visa issue.
In line with the African Union's agenda for 2063, which has a very big following on youth and women inclusion. So I wanted to ask if there are any initiatives that are being put forward by Indaba to make sure that women and youth empowerment, even within this event and African tourism as a whole, is given priority.
Yes, definitely. If you go to the Hidden Gem village just behind us here, the Department of Tourism, my department, we sponsored 120 small, medium enterprises with a clear bias towards women and youth. Because we pay for the accommodation and the airfare to get there, but we want to give them market access so they can grow their businesses. No, it's very much part of our marketing campaign. We also are making sure now that we include in the whole marketing of South Africa to show the world that we're not just only about safaris and Cape Town and Table Mountain, that there are a lot of small offerings, diverse offerings that's on the floor here. In small towns and in villages and in our township tourism, and also the history of South Africa. So no, it's very inclusive. Yes, if we could have done more, we should. And we should be looking at getting more startups, for young people, especially to start in the tourism business. And I think there are great opportunities for young people, especially now with technology. I think our young people must begin to scratch and see what will be the impact of AI on tourism, or how can the tourism use AI. So I always say to young people, also take the initiative and not just wait for a job. But I've now gone to high schools in South Africa. Just a few weeks ago, I met almost 10 schools where children are in their final year of completing their school career before they go to university or to colleges, to show them what are the opportunities if you so decide to go into tourism. And I took some young people that work themselves up, that are managers of hotels today, to tell their stories. Yes, tourism is one of the industries where, semi-skilled, unskilled, there are many training courses that could be done for young people to get involved in tourism.
I was even on the floor earlier and I did a virtual tour of about 3 different sites and sounds here in South Africa. I've been here a couple of days and it's been relatively, very easy to get by. Can you just reiterate, to the audience exactly the security measures that have been put in place for people that are watching this and are looking at South Africa as a destination, that reassurance coming from the minister about the safety in the country?
First of all, we regret an attack on any tourist in our country. And certainly for the past year already, we have put a partnership together with the private sector, with South African Police Services, with the National Prosecuting Authority, and we pulled our resources also together. And I said, I want a proactive plan. So from government side, we put 174 million. We employed 2,300 young people to be tourism safety monitors. we identified about 50 hotspots, frequently visited tourist establishments, and we deployed them there. From the private sector, they invested their money into developing an application, an app called the Secure app. And you can download when you arrive in South Africa, or even local tourists can use it. At a press of a button, if you are attacked and you press the button, you have access to 200 private security companies and the South African police services. You also have access to medical, in case there's a heart attack or a stabbing or something like that. And then last year in August, the business sector launched an operational center where through this app they're able to monitor any alert that they might receive. And so we have shared that safety strategy with all the embassies, all the high commissioners in South Africa, all the consul generals, and we said this is our plan. And this is the aftercare service that we also provide in the event of attack. We will contact the tourist's embassy, we assist with translation services, we assist the tourists to make a case with the police. And when the case finally comes before South African courts, the tourists don't need to travel all the way back to South Africa. We now have virtual courts also, yes. So yes, we are working on it. But like in any other country, there are just some spots where it's not safe to go at certain times.
There's always bad apples.
Yes, so with the hospitality industry in the hotels, they've also put little notes, to say, please don't go there at this particular time. For the Indaba year, we have brought a big operation together with the province, the Premier, South African Police Services, the Metro Police Services. They literally all over the show monitoring what is going in and around the convention center.
Thank you so much. This has been fantastic. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet
and
you
this
too.
is amazing. I can't wait to be back this time again next year.
Yes. I will certainly keep your consul here informed about any developments around the visa. But my hands is tied because it's not, if it was with me, it would be being signed off tomorrow.
Fantastic, beautiful interview there, Seyitan. I mean, following up on the whole package itself of last week, that's really very good. I like when ministers are, confident and they are knowledgeable about the sector that they cover. She knows, she knows what she's talking about, and I like the fact that she was constantly referencing the discussions with Nigeria, and I think that part of what our people would need to look at, will be the conflicting issues around the two types of visas that, that we're asking people to take. A tourism visa separately, and then the visas for businesses and conferences. I'm not so sure that that's a standard, globally. What can we say? I look forward to when you will sit down with the tourism minister in Nigeria, possibly
because she was missing, right? And
yes,
they did say they sent an invitation. I think that's one of your, you've shown light on that also, because it's not that we were not invited. As your other reports so brilliantly showed, that we had Kenya there, I think there was Ethiopia there, there were other countries in Africa represented, and in a time where our government is saying they're trying to put money into creativity, into economy, into tourism, and to bring people back to Nigeria, it's so bizarre that, the South Africans are saying that they invited Nigeria. Nigeria just did not show up.
Definitely.
Our own travel week will come. Aquaba is called. I think that you should look forward to pinning down the minister there.
Definitely.
If not before, because it's important for
I was able to lock
speak.
down the Commissioner of Tourism in Lagos, but of course, that's just on a state level. But I think what really stood out for me when talking to the minister, again, like she said, that these invites were sent out. We look at about 54 countries that were vying. Burkina Faso and Eritrea and Guinea have actually been trying to apply and be part of Africa's Travel Indaba, and they finally were able to get there. Meanwhile, Nigeria, the giant of Africa, who you would expect. We're trying to look at how to diversify the economy and use tourism. We're talking about the governors looking inwards and seeing what they can do within their state. This is the type of event when we're talking about product development in the tourism sector
you want to
you want to be seen. And so even if you are still trying to develop those products, to also see other ideas and other things that are out there as well. I think that was the biggest takeaway from me. To put it out there, I say the invitation was sent. Why didn't we hear anything back from them? And I think honestly, when you think about it that way, we'll continue to.
We just have to be intentional about the things that we want to do. We really have to go, right?
Yes.